Today was officially the last day of Gamescom 2025, and for World of Warcraft, we got the midnight gameplay reveal, we got a systems download video, and a full developer panel. We're getting quite a bit of stuff too. We're getting player housing, 3 brand new raids in Season 1, and yeah, Demon Hunters are finally getting a 3rd spec, and a whole lot more. But is it enough to bring you back to play? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what is new and are they actually going to be fixing a lot of the long-standing issues and problems that this game has really had. So make sure you follow along, because by the end of this you will know whether or not you should play or skip for the next one. Is World of Warcraft Midnight the expansion that finally brings you back to Azeroth? Midnight is officially the 2nd chapter of the World Soul Saga. Xal'atath is making a play for the Sunwell, and the Voidstorm is literally rolling over Quel'Thalas. You're going to be leveling up to level 90, push through 4 new zones, reimagined Eversong Woods and Silvermoon City, Zol-Amon, Harandar, and the Void-soaked Voidstorm. And plus, we are going to be teaming up with the elves to stop the Harbinger. So, what are the biggest gameplay features that we're getting this time? Well, let's hit on the big 3. Blizzard's going to be adding in full player housing. You can earn a home and then decorate it with items that you get from raids and dungeons and a whole lot of other stuff. Basically, you're going to be living in neighborhoods with about 50 other players or so. And for the player housing, you've got 2 different build modes. First up, we got the basic for the more casual players, essentially a grid style, and then you've got advanced for much freer placement to really get those custom homes. And the team has basically said that this is a huge tech lift from the long-term play, with a multitude of updates that are going to be planned beyond just launch. And if you're willing to pre-order the game, well, you get early access to owning a house. Next up, we've got the Devourer, the 3rd spec for the Demon Hunter. After almost a full decade, yes, a full decade, Demon Hunters are finally getting a 3rd spec called the Devourer. It's essentially a mid-range DPS class that's going to be mixing quick scythe attacks with a bunch of void and cosmic beams. And then you get Soul Harvest to basically extend your transformation form. Think of it kind of like a void metamorphosis. A whole bunch of collapsing stars and a bunch of black hole finishing moves. This is going to be a completely new playstyle for Demon Hunters across the board, not just a talent rework. And last of the big 3, we get the Prey system. Prey is basically Midnight's open world hunt system. You're going to be picking a zone and a target, pushing through escalating difficulties, normal, hard, and nightmare. And while you're on these hunts, you're going to be expected to get ambushed pretty often. All of the rewards are mostly just expressive, like mounts, transmogs, and cosmetics, and of course housing decor. It's basically being built to be a jump in, jump out kind of play style for in between raid nights or dungeons, or just to kind of mix it up a little bit. Alright, so raids are next, and the story mode access matters a whole lot more than you think. Midnight is going to be shipping in Season 1 with 3 different raids. First, the Void Spire, which is going to have a total of 6 bosses and be the main raid. The Dream Rift, which is going to be a surreal nightmare hunt. And we've got the March on Quel'Thalas, which is going to include 2 bosses in total. The key change that we're getting here is there's going to be story mode for all 3 of these raids. So even if you're not going to be raiding weekly, you still play the entire narrative arc without having to worry about pugging in or pugging out. Now, for new or returning players, Blizzard is going to be smoothing out the startup and catch-up system of the entire game. Exile's Reach is now going to be flowing right into Dragonflight, and there's a much easier guided Jaina or Thrall kind of playthrough system. And of course, lore walking is going to be recapping the story. And the simplified skywriting gets you moving very fast. The goal here is basically to get you raid or prey ready without having to have a wiki browser open on your second monitor. Now, what kind of quality of life features are we getting? I'm not gonna lie, we're kind of stacked on this one. We are getting Transmog 2.0. It's gonna be slot based and without the cost of gold. There's even gonna be an option to set up auto outfit rules, a whole new cooldown manager, a smarter combat assistant, which is the new 1-button rotation that they added in, a whole new expanded edit mode, and yes, we are finally getting built-in damage meters. And not only that, we are getting boss ability timers. They are almost completely removing the need to download almost any add-ons in the game. But let's be honest, the real question here is it enough to bring players back? So my question is, what made players leave in the first place? Well, let's talk about it. A huge complaint with the majority of the community is just time gating. The feeling that most rewards are locked behind a weekly reset. It starts to create FOMO and basically just turns the game into a job and a checklist. An MMO column earlier this year stated that WoW really loves its time gating. Most content in the game resets either daily or weekly, and missing 1 week could literally put you behind tenfold. So does Midnight fix this issue? Well, Prey is going to be an opt-in or opt-out kind of scenario. Story mode is going to be open in raids to everyone, and the housing rewards kind of spread across all of the in-game activities. So it kind of leans away from the pure pressure that people are getting, but raids and dungeons are still going to be on a weekly cycle. So, partial win? I don't know. The next major issue with this game is just the burnout and an overall lack of innovation. And honestly, that's probably the biggest reasons why I have kind of turned away and quit playing myself. And now there's also a lot of frustration with the microtransaction pressure layered on top of a already monthly payment, on top of already buying the game. I mean, they're hitting us from every single angle they can. It really feels like they are just farming us, and the player is not the priority at all. And this kind of cocktail mixture is pushing a lot of players to RuneScape or Final Fantasy 14, or even Guild Wars 2 is making a kind of a resurgence here lately, because WoW's loop is starting to get a little stale. So I mean, microtransactions aren't like the core problem. It's really just how it stacks with everything else that's going on with the game, and the game basically just feels like a weekly chore at this point. Don't get me wrong, Midnight is making a good first impression with player housing and a new spec, but if the loop kind of remains the same with weekly raid lockouts, Prey opt-ins, endeavors, and then rinse and repeat that feeling is not going to go away. So should you come back? If you're a story first kind of player, I would 100% say come back. With story mode being enabled across all 3 raids, that means you can actually finish the entire arc without having to basically schedule your entire life around a raid. You'll be able to see the Void Spire, the Dream Rift, and the March on Kel'Thras without having to join looking for group. Now, if you're kind of just a solo or chill player, I would actually say a strong yes that you should come back around this time. Housing really does kind of give a meaningful progression. Prey is being sold to us as kind of a pick up and play scenario, and the transmog, even though the gold isn't super serious, it still lets you express yourself without having to dish out a little bit of money. Now, if you're someone who just wants to create alts over and over again, I would say maybe not come back. The on-ramps are going to be better, skywriting is getting simplified, and the catch-ups and lore recaps do kind of help. But if your fun is going to be dying on weekly lockouts, that is still part of WoW's core. And lastly, if you're a mythic and PvP player, I would say it kind of depends. With the new Devourer or Demon Hunter class being added, it will add a new kind of strategy and, new pace to the game and PvP. Now, lastly, if you're a huge PvP grinder, I would say you got something to look forward to, but it kind of depends. The new Devourer Demon Hunter class is going to add a new competitive angle, and with Midnight, it will be introducing a new 40v40 battleground called Slayer's Rise. Plus, we're going to be getting some training grounds. But, as we all know, the balance and pacing are pretty big unknowns in World of Warcraft. So I would say tread lightly, and if it looks fun, maybe come back. So my strategy and what I'm going to be doing is kind of just watching closely. I mean, after we're about a month in, what is the depth of the housing system really going to look like? I mean, is there meaningful decor that I'm going to be wanting to chase across all of the content in the game? And do the neighborhoods, which is a cool concept, but do they actually feel alive, or is it just a bunch of abandoned homes? The Devourer identity, is the mid-range DPS spec going to be actually unique compared to the other two, Havoc and Vengeance, with its own kind of skill expression, or is it just going to be kind of a lot of reused or altered abilities that they already had? And then lockout pressure, my biggest question is, do the story modes, the new prey system, and the housing, I mean, is it enough to kind of keep me, busy for my weekly chores? And then as far as quality of life, well, I would say my biggest question is going to be, are they polished? As far as the Transmog 2.0 and the damage meters and, boss timers, or did they just kind of throw them into the game? So if you bounced from WoW because it started to feel like chores, I will say Midnight does have some decent reasons to make you want to return. Housing is a long-term creative grind. a lot less lower friction to kind of experience the story, a flashy new Demon Hunter spec, and real quality of life kind of implementations so that most players don't have to download 40 different add-ons just to play the game. Of course, the core lockout DNA is still going to be there, but I will say the mix looks a little friendlier. It seems like they're at least trying to add in. So my call, if you're kind of a solo, more story and chill player, I would say, give it a shot, play, maybe for a month, beat the whole story, maybe level up another alt, and then, let it collect some dust until the next one. But if the main reason you quit was because of the chores and lockout feeling, well, that's not really going away, so I would probably stay away if I were you. So, are you guys coming back for midnight, or are y'all sitting this one out? Drop your take below. I will be pinning the smartest counter argument. If you're new here, I cover the future of gaming, some news and data, and just some crazy rants. This is Walker Beats, and I will see you guys in Silvermoon. Peace.